Today we're getting into it with three-time world champion in the light welterweight and welterweight divisions. He's a conqueror in the ring and by name. Say hello to Devon Alexander the Great.
Welcome to Title Unboxed. With more than 40 years of experience in the fight game, our host, Doug Ward, will be covering every corner of the ring as we get comfortable between the ropes. We'll talk with both the lesser knowns and the legends, discuss boxing's rich history and current state of the game. We'll also look at today's latest innovations, equipment breakdowns, and insights you won't uncover anywhere else. Join us now as we take a look inside Title Unboxed.
Devon, welcome to Title Unboxed.
Yes, indeed. Thanks for having me, my good man.
It's great having you here. Well, you're not too far from us. You're about 3.5 hours and grew up in North St. Louis, right?
Yes. Grew up in North St. Louis.
Born and raised. Outside of Hyde Park, which is kind of a rough area, right?
Rough is an understatement, my good man. It was a neighborhood that I was accustomed to. You know, I would go outside, I would see, crackheads just going down the street smoking and just doing, walking over glass bottles, trash in the streets, typical of me to see stuff like that. And pretty rough, my man. I must say.
You walked in the boxing gym at 7 years old. What drew you to the sport?
So at first, boxing was not in my life, if that makes sense. I was just a kid that went to school every day and then come home. My mom knew the dangers of the streets and dangers around me, so she kept a close eye on all of her kids. So that was the typical day of mine before I started boxing. So my coach, which was a police officer, he was a police officer at my school. Oh. So you can imagine, you got a police officer at your school, at an elementary school, you can see the why would that be? So
what the element was like, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So he brought some flyers to school, say, hey, you guys, because he was one of those officers that wanted to get the kids to do something positive instead of joining gangs or getting to selling drugs. So he brought some flyers to school, and I took one, took it home to my mom, showed my mom. At first, she didn't let me go. She let my big brothers go first, but she just wouldn't let me go for no reason in the world. So after a couple weeks of begging her to let me go, she finally let me go. And she told me to be careful. And it was right across the park from me. And the first day became the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I can honestly say the first day of boxing became the rest of my life because I fell in love with it.
Well, it certainly was the right environment based on where you were at and changed the trajectory of your life.
It did. It really, really did. Because, I wasn't a bad kid. I was a homebody. I didn't like a crowd.
Yeah. So
I was more an introvert too. I didn't like to deal with a lot of people, but it really did because I don't know where my life, to be honest, where my life would be at without boxing. I really don't know. So I really don't know. So it really did save my life. And boxing saves a lot of the young men around me lives because it got us to do something positive. And, study shows when you are doing something positive and you are staying busy, you got less time to get into stuff.
Yeah, and of course the Spinks brothers were big around St. Louis. Were you aware of course, the '76 Olympics? Were you aware of them at the time?
I did not.
Yeah.
But when I got into boxing and I started to take it serious, I did my homework.
Yeah.
I started to realize how thick St. Louis boxing was, how rich history that St. Louis was. I got to reading upon, Sugar Ray Leonard, the greats, Rocky Marciano,
Yep.
all of the people that paved the way for me to be world champion. I started doing my history work. So, and I was very impressed. And I fell in love even more doing the research.
Yeah. Well, it did have a rich history, and I remember back in the day, if you were fighting a guy from St. Louis, you knew you had your hands full. It was you get that St. Louis kid draw, and you'd be like, oh my God, no.
Yes, indeed. I get that all the time. And I hear that from every older fighter that I talk to. They say, man, look, St. Louis always had a bad team. They come in a fight. And it's rough in St. Louis. So we've seen it all. So I can see them like we done been through hell and back in
Yep.
St. Louis. So
Yep.
this boxing is easy.
Yeah. Well, I'm probably angry because I had to eat that Emo's pizza.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
no, that stuff's nasty.
A beacon of St. Louis.
It is.
I'm not too much of a fan of it, but a
Yeah.
lot of people love it. A lot
You
of
gotta
people
have
love it.
you gotta have a taste for it.
Yes, yes. So you know about emos.
Oh yeah, I've had it once.
Once. So you really didn't like it.
Yeah, no. Well,
Do you guys
Devin,
got an emo? You guys
no,
got
no,
emos down here yet?
no, we don't. No, no
Okay.
emos. Just not a bad thing.
Right.
So you went on to have a pretty successful amateur career, well over 300 fights. Fought in the Silver Gloves. I probably saw you in the Silver Gloves. I organized that tournament here in Kansas from 96, 97 to 2002.
Okay.
So
Oh wow.
all the
Yeah,
guys
you
you were
definitely
fighting and
saw
all
me.
that, very familiar with the Rock Allens, the Tiger Allen,
Yes,
uh,
yes.
this guy out of Ohio, Ricardo Williams,
Oh man,
that era.
you was around some greats, man,
Yeah.
some great amateurs.
So what year did you fight in the Silver Gloves?
Oh man, it was I went to 98, 99, 2000, and
Would have been right then.
2001.
Yeah.
And my first year I went to the Silver Gloves, uh, it was this guy that won it before me. So he had his T-shirts
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
had he had all this going on. His dad talking smack and all that.
yeah,
Hey, who's this kid that think he's gonna do something for my son? Who's this kid? And me, I'm just a kid from St. Louis, not a big stuff talker. Just, we'll see.
yeah,
We'll see. Got in there and beat them. They were shocked. They were
yeah.
shocked. I was shocked that I won the tournament too as well, because it was my first time and first experience going to the nationals.
Yeah.
That was my first nationals too. It was an
Yeah.
amazing experience. It was that tournament actually was the tournament that people got a wind of Devon Alexander,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I thank God for those type of tournaments because it helped me. It really did help me progress as a fighter.
Yeah. And you went on, fought in the Olympic trials, and lost
Yes,
a close decision to, it was Rock Allen, wasn't it?
yes.
Yeah.
If you go back now, and everybody said he won, of course, but if you go back and look at me and his fight, I won that. I literally won that fight. So the score was 16-16, and they claim that he threw one more punch than I did. So when it was a computer scoring, it was computer scoring. So they went to the school computer 16-16. So somehow he threw, and I'm a combination puncher anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he was able to throw more punches than me because Rock Allen was more of a phone booth type of fighter.
Yep.
So I didn't get it. My coach was mad. I was mad because I thought I won. And the tape is out there. The tape is on. I think it's on
Really?
YouTube if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
So
I'll
you
have to
guys
check
can go
that out.
watch it. You guys can go watch it. And my coach is mad. It was always my dream to make it to the Olympics. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
I always wanted to. First, it was for my dad too. My dad, around that time, told me he had prostate cancer. He had cancer through his whole body.
Oh, wow.
So around that time, I wanted to really gear up and show him that I could make the Olympics and do something big, just in case he wasn't going to be around to see me,
Yeah.
turn pro or whatever. I wanted to make
Yeah.
it for him. So that scarred me kind of a little bit because I had
Yeah.
to come home and tell him, Daddy, I ain't make the Olympics. I didn't. But he told me it would be okay. He told
Yeah.
me keep going, don't never give up. He's the one that instilled that humility in
Yeah.
me
Awesome.
because he every tournament, yeah, and I won a lot of tournaments, but every tournament he'd be that one that I'll go to. Dad, look, I won. Like, all right, good job, son, but you
Yeah.
got more work to do.
Yeah. There you
He
go.
was more mellow,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everybody else, whoa, Dad, you won again, yeah. But he more, it's good, son, but we got way more work to do. We
Yeah.
got a lot more work, so stay humble, and just keep working hard. Keep
He
working
knew
hard.
he
So.
knew it was a long journey
Yes, yes, yes.
with
He taught me
greater
that.
with greater things to come.
Yes,
So,
yes,
so how long after that before you turned pro? You turned pro at 17, which is a little bit young.
yes. So after that was after the Olympics, and I couldn't fight because in the United States you got to be 18.
Yeah.
So we had Shelly Finkel and Don King wanted to sign me, uh, so I couldn't fight. So I didn't want to. Didn't want to take me to Mexico. So I had to just wait till I turned 18. So I trained until I turned 18. And then I had my pro debut in Michigan.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Don King was my first promoter.
Did you sign with him right away, or was that later on?
Later
Yeah.
on, I was with Shelly Finkel at first. He was getting me some fights with
Yeah.
my man, what is his name? The guy, the GSP, what was his name? Uh, I used to fight a lot. I wasn't signed to him, but I would fight on his cards a lot. Heavyset guy.
Gary Shaw.
Yes,
Gary
yes,
Shaw.
Gary
Yes.
Shaw.
Yes.
Yes. And he liked me as well, but I never signed with him. But Shelly Finger would put me on his cards a few times. And then, I think after a few years, that's when I signed my first promotional contract with Don King.
How was that? I mean, Don's a controversial figure. Some people only know what they hear about him, and other people know him firsthand. What was your experience with him, not just in the beginning, but throughout your career?
Yes, me personally, just me personally. I didn't experience none of what the stories that I hear. I didn't experience that.
Yeah.
Every dollar that I signed for, I got. Every check that I was supposed to get, I got. There was no shortcuts. There was no Don King. We had a deal. He honored the deal. So all the stories that I hear, I don't know what they talking about, my man. I just don't.
Yeah. So he got you to your first title fight for the
Yes,
WBC
indeed.
light welterweight against Junior Whittier. What do you remember
Yes.
about that fight most?
So, man, when I'm gonna tell you how focused I was so focused on just winning that I forgot I was literally fighting for a world title that
Yeah.
day. Listen to me. When I won the title and they put this around me, that's when I remember. Oh shoot, I won the world title. I am world champion. I am
Wow.
WBC world champion of the world.
Yeah.
That's how razor focused I was just beating this guy. And of course, yes, I know I was fighting for a world title afterwards, but I was so focused. I wanted to do it for my dad first off, and I wanted to do it for all the people that died when I was a kid. I wanted to do it for all the people that don't have a voice, all the people that counted kids out that come from where I come
Yeah.
from. All of that came rushing when they put their world title on me. All of that came and it meant so much
Yeah.
because it don't happen. It do not happen. It's unlikely for a kid from St. Louis, Missouri that grew up around a neighborhood that I grew up in, 13 brothers and sisters, a 2-bedroom household, 8 sisters, 5 brothers. two-bedroom household. My sister shared a room. My brother shared a room. Mom and dad in the front room with a let-out couch. We made do somehow. We made it. So to be in a situation like that, to grow up in an environment like that, and to become world champion, it has a whole different meaning to me. And it was one of the best nights of my life and a life-changing night of my life too as well.
You beat the odds, and that's what makes your story so amazing. You know,
Yes.
it's one of
Yes,
triumph.
man, it is like when I tell people like how I grew up, I take this I tell people all this story all the time. So HBO came to my city. You know how they do the
Hmm.
preludes when the fight come on,
Yeah.
and um, went to went to my city, went to my came to my city. They went to my old neighborhood. I showed them where I grew up, and I showed them the environment that I was in, and
Yeah.
showed them. And a camera guy, pulled me to the side and say, no, no disrespect, Devin. How did you not make it? How did you make it in an environment
Yeah.
like this? How did you not fall victim to your surroundings like this? How did you make it to the top of the boxing game in this environment? And my simple answer was just work, hard work,
Hmm.
um, consistency. But he was so shocked. So what I got from that is people that comes from that type of environment usually don't make it top of anything.
Right.
They're
Right.
not coming nowhere near the success that I had.
Right.
So I take that with full humbleness and
Yeah.
gratefulness, and I just thank God for it.
Well, a part of that probably is you spoke about your mother and her strength and how disciplined she was about keeping you guys on track. And Kevin Cunningham, who was a police officer. I mean,
Yes,
your support group has a lot. The circle, your inner circle has a lot to a lot to do with your success. I think
yes,
you
yes.
build.
I agree. I agree with that. That is an absolute fact. Because the older I get, the older I got, and I'm a little wiser now.
Yeah.
Um, I get that structure is so important for
Yeah.
kids. Structure, mom and dad is so important for kids.
Yeah.
That just that structure, that being able to have a mom and a dad in the household
Yeah.
and getting it from both parents, both sides, is so important.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Well, and I think after that, you went on your second title defense was against Juan Urango. And I look at your record, and I'm amazed at the amount of really tough guys you fought. I mean, Juan
Hmm.
Urango, Lucas Matisse, Kevin Randall. I mean, just tough, rough guys.
Go Marcos Medina.
Marcos
Marcos
Medina. I mean,
Medina.
yeah.
Yes.
So talk
Yes.
a little bit about the Juan Urango fight because that was a rough one.
So that fight, a lot of people counted me out with that
Yeah.
one.
Yep.
A lot of people doubted me when it came to that fight in particular because Juan Urango was an established guy. They knew he was coming all night long.
Yep.
So that fight, I had to prove myself. I knew I had to prove myself, but I worked my butt off. So I was confident in that fight, to be honest. I was ready. I was in shape. I was ready to go for whatever he bring. And I got the job done. A lot of people were shocked that I stopped him though.
Yeah.
That was like, what? Randall Bailey didn't even stop Juan
Yeah.
Urango,
Eighth
and
round, right?
Devon Alexander did. Yes,
Eight
Devon.
rounds.
What?
Yeah.
What? Oh man, we got somebody big now. We got somebody on the rise. So that fight was another pillar of my career that really got people to know who I was.
Well, and you handled Maidana in a similar fashion. What was it about your style, your ability, your mindset that allowed you to stop these brawlers, these rough, tough guys in their tracks, the guys that just wanted to use their head, their elbows, or everything that was available to them? What allowed you to kind of shut these guys down?
Oh, Medina, that's another one. They counted me out. See, one thing about me, and that's when you count me out, that pisses me off. That makes me mad because this is boxing. This is not street fighting.
Yeah.
Anybody, anything can happen in there. So when you count me out, I'll go get ready and fully focused. But that particular fight, I knew I had a rough one coming because Medina is going to hit you everywhere.
Yeah.
He don't care where he's punching, he's going to hit you everywhere. And I'm the one that beat him the easiest because I utilize and I utilize what he does. I took his power away from him because he wanted, and on the inside, I knew he was going to hit me below the belt. He's going to hit me on my back, all that. So guess what I did? Okay, I'm going to tie him up. So he can't do all that garbage. Yeah. But that fight, I was the whole camp, I was on my leg. So I knew I had to box. I knew I couldn't stay there. And a lot of times people ask me, how does Marcos Medina hit? Does he hit hard? And I tell them honestly, I do not know because I didn't get hit by him.
Yeah. I
wasn't trying to get hit by him. So I stayed away from his power. I honestly don't know how hard he hit. Mayweather had trouble with him.
I think he had a harder time with him than you did.
You can really say, go back and look at the fight. The first fight, he beat Mayweather, in my opinion.
I think a lot of people would agree.
You can, if you go back and look at that fight, that was a tough fight for Mayweather. Yeah. And you can tell the look on his face after the fight, like, oh, shoot. Yeah. This dude came in here and got it done. So, and it was a split. It was split. Yeah. So you can tell how close that fight was. But me, I was at home in St. Louis. Yeah. And Golden Boy, which was my promoter, I knew they was going for him. I knew they brought him to St. Louis to dethrone me, but I had a lot of things to motivate me doing that fight too as well. So I had to get it done.
And not in my hometown, right?
No, sir. No, it's not. I had a lot, like my family, my wife's out there, everybody's out there. I cannot lose. I'm not losing at all. But I can tell you one thing. Lucas Matisse was a tough one. At home, he was my toughest fight.
Really?
Lucas Matisse, I would really say, was my toughest fight to date. So around that time when I fought Lucas Matisse, and I fought two killers. Everybody I fought the two baddest Argentinians out, and that was around the time they was smashing people. And I beat both of them. But around that time, it was really, I was really coming into my man strength, my man body.
Yep.
And 140 was becoming like hard to make. When I literally, the week of the fight, I got to St. Louis, I was maybe 142, got down to 141. I was starving myself, basically starving. I can show you a picture where I was you can tell I'm nothing but muscle. So I don't know where nothing's going to come in at. So weigh-in came, I couldn't eat too much. I had to eat some soup or whatever, and I couldn't eat none that week. And that pound would not come off me for nothing. So I finally got it off, made the weight, and try to, rehydrate as much as I can. So in that particular fight, I was at home, thank God, because I was gonna need it. So bell rung first. I think I won the first 3 rounds pretty handily. So the third round, my leg cramped up. And I said, oh, shoot. No, my leg is not cramping with this bad person that's
Yeah.
coming all night long. I said, oh snap, I'm in trouble because there's no way that he's not coming all night. So fourth round came, I could not move worth nothing. I tried to, but my leg was cramping, so I tried to get it out, try to fake it off, didn't show it, of course. I'm a professional. But he hit me with a body shot so hard. I really and I did. I'm a professional, but it made me rethink why the hell am I boxing? It really, and I never been hit with a body shot that hard before.
Yeah.
But my body was I felt like my body was so weak at that time that every punch was gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Every punch was gonna hurt. But so I got through that. Then and you can see it on the film too. Even Roy was like, "Oh wow, I know that hurt. I know that hurt."
Well, you could hear those shots.
Yes, yes. I said, "Oh, I know that hurt." So around round 6, 7 round, my leg cramp up again, and he with a body shot again, and it's like, "Oh my God!" So the only way I think that I made it through that fight was I knew my family was out there. I was at home, and I could not lose at home.
Yeah.
And I was coming off a lackluster performance with Bradley.
Yeah.
So I had to win. So the only way I got to that fight was me being at home and me seeing my family out there, knowing what was at stake. That's how I got to that fight. Because that fight was it was tough for me. It was tough.
Well, looking out and seeing your family and your fans looking out and seeing your family and fans is a great motivator.
Yes, yes.
So you mentioned the Bradley fight. Let's go to that for just a second. That was 2011. Your first loss. How difficult it is to bounce back from a fight like that? You're head-butted throughout the fight. Just a difficult loss to lose your first fight on a cut, basically. So what was that experience like, and how do you bounce back from that as well as you did? Because I think you had like 4 or 5 straight wins right after that happened.
So when you get your first loss, it's like a fire lit under you. And anybody will tell you when you get your first loss, it's a fire. Oh, I'm revamped. I'm mad. I'm focused. I'm zoned in, and ain't nobody beat me. Ain't nobody. So it become a fire lit up under you because you got your first loss. You upset about it, but it can't happen again. Yeah. It cannot happen again. So it was a letdown for me because people were saying that I was the next big thing, and and Bradley was not a amazing fighter, but it was a fight I could have won. Yeah. And that fight, I think I was very young-minded. I was very young-minded and very immature to handle what I saw. Well, to handle what I was dealing with. I was too young to realize the big picture that I was in, and it cost me it gave me my first loss because I was so young-minded at that time, and I tell everybody from that fight I was really young-minded because if I knew the ramifications and how big of a spotlight I was in, there is no way I would have fought with one eye and kept going. Yeah. But I was very immature, very immature.
But a great learning experience.
Yes. Yes, because that fight I got cut. That was my first cut. Yeah. Too as well, and I had to deal with a lot in that fight. So Bradley he does use his head a lot. Yeah. And he would rush in, bam, and he used it a lot in that fight. And the referee wasn't saying anything. So he does. That was an amazing life lesson for me.
Well, I was actually at that fight. Like I say, at the time I had a fighter signed to Don King. He was fighting on the card as well.
Oh
And
wow.
I remember we rode to the airport together in a van or a car of some sort.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I remember wondering what was going through your head, when you're going home with your first loss, and
Yeah.
a little bit surreal probably.
That's what's up. Wow. I didn't remember. You remember that?
Yeah, I do
Oh
remember
wow.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Who was the guy on the card too? Emmanuel Augustus was on the card too. I remember
Yes.
him.
Yes. 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 And that
He's
was a big
crazy.
card.
He's crazy,
Very
dude.
cold up there. Yes. Yes. It is.
I still have the
Yes.
fight
It
poster.
is.
Yeah, it was in Detroit. It was freezing, a foot of
Freezing
snow at
cold.
least.
Yes. Yes. I was surprised how Don found that place.
Yeah,
I don't even know how you found it.
it was probably cheap.
Yes.
It was affordable. Who was to fight it?
Yeah.
0 degrees
Yes.
and out in the middle of nowhere in Detroit.
Yes. Yes. Under I think it was like a dome thing.
Yeah,
That material they make for a dome.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Funny. So let's talk a little bit about. I know for a while inadvertently got addicted to opioid due to
Yes.
an injury. I want to talk a little bit
Yes.
about that because I think there's, you didn't do it purposely. You weren't abusing drugs. It happened based on an injury. So I want to talk a little bit about that just because I think
Okay.
some young fighters and fans can learn from that experience. Talk me through that, when that
Absolutely.
happened and how that happened, and
Absolutely.
what it took to overcome that.
So I was the type of person and fighter who didn't drink, didn't smoke.
Right.
After each fight, I'm not going to work out. I mean, I'm not going to the club. I don't party. I just don't. I never thought an athlete should do that. So I never was interested in drinking and smoking. So I've been clean cut my whole life. Never dabble in anything a day of my life. And this was during me getting ready for Marcos Medina.
Oh yeah.
And I was sparring, right? I was sparring, and one of my sparring partners elbowed me in my nose. Now, if you go back, if the camera get a glimpse of my face, you can see that my nose is huge. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it was almost like, and this was like 2 weeks before the Medina fight,
Oh wow.
and I didn't say anything. My coach knew I got elbowed. I didn't say anything. I just um, got through it. Uh, but a week later, my nose kept getting stopped up. So I had to get some nose spray because I
Mm-hmm.
could not breathe at all.
Yeah.
Like I said, it could have been broke. I didn't know at the time. It could have been. But I had a big fight coming up, so there was nothing I could do anyway. I wasn't finished not fight.
Right.
I had to. So I got through the fight, and about 2 weeks after the fight, I said, Kevin, man, something's wrong with my nose. I don't know what it is, but man, my nose steady getting stopped up. It would not like after, I would say six 6 days of no, it'll be get clogged up again. So I went to go see an ENT doctor. Doctor went up, looked up my nose. Oh, that thing is broken. That thing is
Mm.
broken. So I he said you're gonna have to have surgery. And I don't know if this is malpractice or not. But got in there, when the doctor got in there, he said it was a blood clot. It wasn't broken. It was a blood clot. And if that's the case, I didn't have to have surgery. If that's the case, why did you put me to sleep and do all this?
Right.
Because I always, when he looked at my nose, he just did this and said, yeah, that thing is broken. But didn't do any x-rays, didn't do
Mm-hmm.
anything. We just looked up there and said, oh yeah, that thing is broken. So I did it for nothing. I went through all that, strenuous for a blood clot. Now,
Yeah.
I'm glad he saw it. I'm glad, he got it out of there, or I'm glad he was able to rectify what was going on. But that was a lot. That was a lot to go through. So a day before my surgery, typically how I remember it went. He told me, "Hey, Devin, I'm calling in some meds for you. So you go get your meds from the doctor before your surgery. I want you to go pick it up. Make sure you have it for when you're after surgery or whatever." So I had the surgery. I came home, took it as prescribed, of course. And, just looking back and just the observation for myself, the doctor should have told me, look, these things are addictive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
These things, I wouldn't recommend you taking this no more than three, no more than a week
Yeah.
after your
Yeah.
surgery. And then, you're done with that, you know. So me not knowing what that meant, wasn't. This is my first time dabbling in any substance or any strong medication. I didn't even
Right.
take an Advil after my fight
Mm-hmm.
before this. Um, so after that, I I took it as prescribed. So a week afterwards, I found myself taking it just because.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Oh shoot." And mind you, I am I am literally in my head, like, Devin, what are you doing? Like like what?
Yeah.
All right, you don't supposed to. You know for a fact that the pain is gone, everything's gone, you're good. You should be, you're fine. You're so a month later, I'm still, and I can see myself being so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I can I can literally see myself self-destructive. I can literally, I can in my head I'm telling myself, no, Devin, no, Devin, no, Devin, no, Devin. What the hell are you doing? What are you stop, 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 stop. So I was in a whirlwind. I don't know how to explain it, man. But it was a horrible, horrible time for me. So after that, and this is where I blame the doctor, shoot.
Sure.
So a month afterwards, I was able to pick up that phone. He knew who I was. He called me Champ. Hey Champ, hey, how you doing? I said, Doc, oh man, I'm out. Can you can you send more meds in? It's still kind of hurting. I don't know why, but it's still kind of hurting. Oh yeah, here you go, Champ. It'll be there for you in a couple hours. Bam. Same month. I mean, not same month. The next month, same thing. Here. Oh, yeah, Champ. Yeah, I got you. So if that doctor would have just clicked in his brain, say, Dad, no, you should be good. This is
Yeah.
2 months down the line. You should be straight, Champ. You good. I can't do it no more. If he would have just said that, I wouldn't be even talking to you about it today.
Right.
But
Too easy to just write that prescription.
yes,
Yeah.
he enabled it, in
Yeah.
my opinion. Yes, I didn't, but he would have said, look, David, nope, can't do it. The law says I can't, yada, 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 I can't keep it.
Yeah.
But this was happening for 6 months, 7 months, didn't care. Here you go, got you, champ, got you. So I got in this whirlwind. And I know it got me. Somehow, this this monster on my back, it got me. And I was a kid, and I was a person, mind you. And I tell you, anybody, if it can get me, it can get anybody. I don't care who you are. If it can get me,
Yeah.
it'll get any. Because I was a kid that I never touched a drug a day in my life. And these were legal, and these is legal, and you can get this legally. So uh, it got me. It got me. So I had a couple lackluster performances during that time.
Mm-hmm.
And my coach didn't I understand, man, what the hell's wrong with you? Man, something wrong. You just don't look like yourself.
And he
Like
didn't know what was going on.
no, no, no. And I could not because I was always this clean cut kid that could not do no wrong. Man,
Yeah.
Devon Alexander, the one that made it. You know, I started with 50 kids, and he was the only one, the clean cut guy,
Mm-hmm.
the guy that can't do no wrong, the golden child, the child that made it. He can't do that. That he won't get, he will not get caught up in this type of thing. No way, no how.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I couldn't tell nobody this. I was suffering in silence basically, but my wife knew. My wife
Oh
like,
yeah.
Devin, what are you doing? Devin, your surgery has been over. What are you doing? Well, you know, and I felt bad too because I was kind of making it feel like she was the one
Sure.
that was nagging, and I felt bad because she was spot on what
Yeah.
was going on. They got that
That
whatever they
intuition,
got. Yes,
the
they
women's
got that.
intuition. Yeah.
Yes, they got
Something
that.
to that. Yeah.
And it made me even madder because she was right, but
Yeah.
I made her feel like, man, stop. You know, this is me. This is Devon Alexander. I wouldn't do no stuff like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take it just because I wouldn't just do that. So why are you even thinking that? Lying to myself, lying to everybody around me. So after Aaron Martinez fight, I said, man, I gotta come clean. I gotta, I have to, I have to, because this is ruined. This is before you know it. If this keeps going like it is, this is not going to be bad for me. It's going to be my family, all that.
Right.
So
Right.
I had hit my coach. I couldn't tell him in person, so I wrote him a long, long text message
No.
about what was going on, yada yada. He was shocked. He called
Yeah.
me. What? What? What do you mean? What? Oh my God, David, do you know what's at stake in there? What? Oh, what are you, man? He came right over to my house. He said, man, we gotta deal with this. We have to deal with this. Wow. At least, you know, at least these performances, we got an explanation for the performances now. We got an explanation why you are looking like you're looking, you
Yeah.
know. Um, so I went through the process of, I went to a clinic over here by my house, and in that process, because I'm not going to say I was judgmental to people who did drugs. I was one of those people that didn't understand
Right.
why would anybody continue to take something that will have them whacked out of their mind,
Yeah.
have them just not their self. I was one of those that would constantly say that. Like, why would a person continue to do this, knowing how it's affecting their life? And me being on that side of it, I get it. I
Yeah.
understand it now and I get it. That is a big hawk on people's back that they want to get rid of, but they can't
Yeah.
because it's the withdrawals are worse than being even taking this stuff.
Really.
Like
Mm-hmm.
literally, it's worse. So I can see why people that attempt to say, "Man, I'm done," they go back because it's worse. It's even worse trying to stop than just continue to take it.
Yeah.
So I just thank God that I had a support system that
Right.
was around me. I had a career that said, okay, Devin, look, you got a big fight coming up.
Yeah.
And I can remember I was in these classes And I was around people, and to myself, I was like, Devin, how far have your life been dropped? Were you in a room full of people that's nodding off? You in a room where people that's been on heroin for uh, 30 years.
Yeah.
I remember this guy saying he was been on heroin for 30 years. 30 years. You got um, um, people that are sitting there and going to sleep, and I was like, this is it for me. That this is all it took for me. It scared me straight because
Mm-hmm.
I found myself in a place where, what the hell? I didn't know I was doing this bad. I didn't know my life had got this bad.
Yeah.
Where I'm, and of course it wasn't that, but just the optics of me sitting in that room and telling these people how it happened. And it was only for a year and a half, 2 years
Yeah.
that I was
Yeah.
going through it. But to be in a room like that, you would think like, man, what happened to my life? What did I
Yeah.
do? And it scared me straight. It really did. And I thank God. See, at first I wasn't going to come out to the world what was going on because I always been a private person.
Right.
I always been a person that didn't like to talk about my personal anything, just boxing. But I'm glad I did. I'm really, really glad I did because I have talked to thousands of people,
Yeah. I'll
and
bet.
I really do want to do like some type of speaking tour on it, on what I went through and how they can overcome it. I really do um, want to set something up in the near future, like soon, because I think that me going through that is another testimony from God for me. Um,
Absolutely.
I still get inboxes every single day. Devin, how did you stop? How did you beat this? How? Tell me, what did you do different that made you come out of it? Because I'm still stuck. I'm
Mm-hmm.
still stuck. I can't get away. And it breaks my heart to be honest, because
Right.
I get what they're saying. I get it. And that's why I want to tell people my story. I want to let the people know, man, you can stop. And I tell people for me how I was able to overcome that hawk that they're talking about. I had my wife, I had my kids,
Yeah.
I had a
Awesome.
lucrative career waiting on me
Yep.
when I shot.
Yeah.
I can go and make a $500,000 when I stop. So
Yeah.
that was enough incentive for me to say, man, I don't give a damn. This is not that important. Not for me. Not for me. And I thank God too that I wasn't going through an ordeal for a long time. It was enough, but I just thank God that I was able to make it out because a
Well,
lot of people don't.
like you say, it's part of your story, and as unfortunate as it is, it's a learning experience. It's something
Yes.
you can share with others, so they don't fall into that same challenge or obstacle. And especially, again, where you've come from a rough part of St. Louis, to dealing with that and actually winning the WBC championship of the world. I mean, that puts you in the position today where you're at, I want to talk a little bit about the Devon Alexander sports complex. It puts you in a position where you can pass that on to those kids so they don't fall into those same pitfalls.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. It's like coming full circle. So you know how it's like a surreal moment for me because here I am. I'm a kid that came into a boxing gym, and now I got my own gym, and I'm training fighters. It's
Yeah,
like it's an amazing feeling because I always wanted to give back. I always had the heart to want to give back. I always knew after boxing I was going to give back in a big capacity, some way, somehow, because I think God gave me a platform to give back.
yeah,
He didn't give me this platform to self-indulge in myself. He gave it to me and say, hey, look, go and tell people that you can do whatever you want to do if you stay consistent, if you work hard. because it's not about how you start, it's how you finish. You can start off poor, but you can make it. You can do anything. You got the free will to do whatever you want to do every single day. I tell my kids this all the time. Every day you guys get up, you got the free will to be great, to do whatever you want to do to make yourself great. And I want to instill that in these kids that need it, that really need that guidance. I want them to see me. Because like now, I go talk to kids at high schools now, and I tell them, look, kids, I was just like you. Because they see me in this form, of course, this form where I'm not poor, but look, kid, I was just like you. Sometime I didn't eat at nighttime. Sometime I would like nighttime would come, dinner time she'll be around 6 or 7 o'clock. Mom, are we gonna eat? Boy, go to bed. There's no food.
Yeah.
So I would tell them that, and after I'm done talking and telling them about my story, you will have kids that come up to me. Hey, Mr. Alexander, did you really not eat sometime? Did you really not have no shoes? Did you really have raggedy shoes going to school? Are you for real or are you just saying that? Because they're going through that. They get that. I was talking their language and they understood exactly what I was saying. And I was like, absolutely. I can and I bring this picture with me. Me was when I was in elementary. I was that when I tell you I was messed up, I was a poor kid, you can tell in that photo. And I bring it with me all the time to show these kids this is how I started. This is truly how I started. And they asked me, man, wow. And you made it all the way to the boxing, up to the top of the boxing? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. How did you do it? Wow. Because I'm going through that right now. And that's why I do it. That's why I want to spread my story because it's so much inspiration in it. So
Yeah.
much.
Well, you had a fantastic coach, an amazing career, so I'm sure that you're going to make a great coach yourself. You've got a lot of knowledge to pass on.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Indeed. Indeed.
So I know you've had two amateur shows already.
Yes.
Two.
Yes. To the Devon Alexander Boxing Invitational
Yeah.
Classic. Yes. Had two. I've teamed up with the Urban League here and uh, a popular university here called Harris Stowe. And I brought the idea to them. It's like, let's do it. Let's do it. Because in St. Louis, these kids are they are clowning, that's putting it mildly. But these kids are killing each other. They're fighting.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
they're and the government, the mayor, the city's looking for positive images like what I'm trying to bring to the city. They want to get behind. They Devin, please bring it. Whatever it is, bring it because we need it. The kids need it, young men need it. And I have told the politicians this every time I get a chance to talk to them. I say, boxing really, I would say, man, they should mandatory all young boys to box.
Yeah.
They should mandatory all young boys to box because it's not about the fighting part, is what I'm saying. It's the discipline aspect of what they would get from boxing. Because just
Right.
say, for instance, me and you was to be sparring, right? You hit me with a good shot, bam. Typically the kids in the streets, if they get hit hard, they want to go kill you for it. Like, man,
Right.
why you hit me so hard? Bam. But boxing, if these kids was to get into boxing, yes, they'll be mad at first because the guy hit him so hard that he'd be mad, of course, get emotional and mad and want to get him back, of course. But I've seen it with the kids I'm training now. It's a kid that came to the gym and he was upset when he first sparred. Upset, got out. wanting to fight the guy. Yeah, it's like night and day now, because that first experience helped him see, man, it wasn't that bad. I mean, he hit me hard, but I was able to get in there and spar again and get him back. And so when I talk to the politicians, I say, look, this will keep these kids from going to get a gun. It will teach them that they can get hit hard. They can get hit hard, but they don't have to go kill that person for it. Out in the streets, what's affecting them is they quit thinking because somebody looked at them funny, or somebody, they don't like somebody for some reason, and they don't have the discipline to say, okay, let me just leave that alone. Boxing will do that. It would do that. It would literally save these kids' lives by calming their attitude down, calming their differences down, and then living to see another day. So I'm pushing that. I'm really, because boxing is a sport that will save kids' lives, literally.
Absolutely. It's a better, healthier, more positive way of learning how to deal with your emotions on all levels.
Yes. Yes.
So as we wrap, Devon, let everybody know where all the fans and followers and listeners can find you on your social pages and watch what you've got going on.
Yes. And mind you, Tidal has been a big help to me as well. And I want to thank you guys for just being there for me and seeing and believing in me trying to help these kids. So I just thank you guys.
Well, that's it. We totally believe in what you're doing.
Yes. So I really want to thank Tidal. You guys have really been, since I've been started to now, you guys really helped me out. So I really want to thank you guys for that. It never goes unnoticed. And everywhere I go, people ask me, man, Tidal got me. Tidal got them these uniforms right here. They got me. Tidal did that for me. They support me. So I really appreciate that, you guys.
Absolutely.
But social media, I'm on Instagram, D.Alexander1. Facebook is Devon Alexander. And Twitter is The Real Devon A. And I don't have too many more social media because I only need a few. I don't want to. It always takes away from my time anyway, so I don't want to get. They come up with a new social media every year, so I don't want to keep grabbing them.
No time for all that.
Yes,
you got coaching to do. Got coaching to do.
Yes.
Devon.
Actually, I got a class at 2:00.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah.
We'll let you jump on it then. Devon, it's great talking to you as always.
Thank you.
Appreciate everything you've brought to the sport and everything you're giving back.
Thank you, my man. And hopefully we'll continue to do the good work that I'm trying to do, and people see what I'm trying to do, because St. Louis need it.
They do need it. They need to be lead the charge again.
Yes. We have so much talent here, but the programs and the USA Boxing program here is none and void.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. When I was amateur, it was thriving. It was there. Yeah. We had the kids. So I'm going to try to do what I can to bring it back. I'm going to try to do what I can. Absolutely.
And we're here watching and supporting.
Appreciate you, my man.
All right. Take care, Devon.
Yes, sir.
Bye. Thank you for watching this episode of Tidal Unboxed. If you're anything like me, you can never get too much boxing. So if you'd like to watch more episodes, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on our Tidal Boxing YouTube page.